Alongside Jesse Simonton, I'm Austin Price for the S&P Stock Report on this Alabama week. Stock up for you this week.
Stock up for me, I have to. I wrote about it after the game on Saturday. It's the Bush Jones cast-offs. Maybe it's just a one-off game, but Tim Jordan, Tyler Bird, Matthew Butler. These are guys that a lot of fans were left for dead, and no one would have really, I think, even blinked an eye if a lot of those guys had kind of entered the transfer portal.
Even a guy like Jarrett Guarantano.
Yeah, and Guarantano, I included him in that list too. And Solon Page had a couple tackles. I mean, it was just, for those guys, they have, shouldered, I think, a lot of the blame for the last couple of years, and in some cases, rightfully so. But Saturday, Tennessee wouldn't have won the game if they didn't have those guys from that 2016, 2017 classes. For at least one Saturday, they got to smile a little bit.
I'll go stock up Nigel Warrior. Nigel, now with a couple of picks on the year, has really played, I think, his best football the last couple of weeks, and has done really a fabulous job, being a leader all season long. But specifically, his play in the secondary has been really good, in the last couple of games. So kudos to him, because he's been a guy that everybody's, kind of talked about. Why can't, everybody expects him to be Dale Carter. That's really hard, because Dale was such a phenomenal player. But for Nigel, it's good to kind of see him kind of break through, make some plays, and really kind of be the leader that I think a lot of people envisioned before he arrived at Tennessee. Let's go one more stock up this week.
And Nigel's kind of a part of this, just the defensive havoc, creating turnovers, all the negative plays. And they had 7 sacks on Saturday. They haven't had 7 sacks in an SEC game in more than 10 years. Last time they had even equaled that was against UMass in 2016. They also had a bunch of tackles for loss. For a defense that had been, they had 2 TFLs in 60 minutes against Georgia, if they're going to have any sort of hope of upsetting Alabama, it's going to come from negative plays, kind of forcing turnovers, sacks, tackles for loss. That was a good start on Saturday against Mississippi State. Totally shut down Kylan Hill, one of the best running backs in the conference.
Stock down.
Stock down. When you win a game like that was just kind of ugly, that both teams kind of went back and forth, fought a little bit. There's not a bunch of stock downs, but Tennessee continues to turn the ball over in the red zone. They had 2 more red zone interceptions. Obviously, one of them, Maurer had a concussion on, so however you want to split the blame there a little bit. But those are 2 throws that Tennessee just can't afford. This is not a team that's dynamic enough to survive, losing 6 points if you take away 2 field goals, or even 14 points for 2 touchdowns. They got to clean up that red zone offense.
I'm gonna go stock stagnant Eric Gray. I mean, where's he been the last few weeks? I mean, like Tim Jordan has emerged, but mostly because he's gotten the run instead of Eric Gray getting the run, which was what happened early in the year when EG got a lot of playing time, made a few flashes, but those flashes have been fleeting the last couple of weeks. So stock stagnant EG. Can he kind of get back in the mix again, make some plays, because the offense needs a playmaker like him, but for some reason he's not getting the burn as far as reps that Chandler and Jordan are getting. Stock stagnant for you.
Yeah, and just last thing on EG, they did put him in for that one, home run shot play, the trick play that Jawan was going to throw to him. He was covered. Other than that, he only had 1 touch. This is a guy who had 77 yards against BYU and has really disappeared since then. I think we're both in agreement here on stock stagnant, heading into a showdown with number 1 Alabama. Who starts at quarterback? Is it going to be Brian Maurer, who Jeremy Pruitt has said and was on the practice field at the start of the week on Sunday, has been out there again on Tuesday? But do they go to Jarrett Guarantano with kind of the experience of going into Bryant-Denny Stadium at night, 9 p.m. kick? That's going to be an interesting development, I think, over the next coming days.
I'll tell you one more stock stagnant, the light show at Alabama. Here we are to the mid part of October, and all that money they put in hadn't been seen yet, except for a nice video they put out there on Twitter. He is Jesse Simonton. I'm Austin Price for the S&P Stock Report.